My beloved child, pause for a moment and breathe. This is not an accident. This message did not find you by chance. You did not randomly click, scroll, or stumble your way here. I guided this very moment with gentle precision. Before you even pressed play, I knew you would be here. Before this day began, I had already set this encounter in motion. And yes, this message was sent only to you. You may wonder how that can be. You may think, there are so many others watching. But listen closely to my voice now. I speak to hearts individually. I whisper directly into wounds that no one else can see. I answer questions you have never dared to say out loud. Right now, in the quiet place inside you, something is stirring. That is because my spirit is reaching into the exact place where you have been carrying confusion, fear, or silent longing. Why now? Because you have been asking for a sign. Maybe not with loud words, but with tired thoughts, with heavy sighs, with nights where sleep would not come. You have been searching for reassurance that you are not alone, that your life is not drifting without purpose, that I still see you. And I tell you with unwavering love, I see you completely. I see the way you smile for others while holding back tears. I see the questions that circle in your mind when no one is around. I see the pressure you feel to be strong when inside you feel fragile. Nothing about your struggle has escaped my attention. Nothing about your story has been ignored. Even the smallest detail of your heart matters to me. This moment is sacred, even if it feels ordinary. I am meeting you right where you are, not where you pretend to be, not where others expect you to be, but exactly where you truly are. Whether you are tired, hopeful, confused, or barely holding on, I am not disappointed in you. I am near you. There is a reason this title caught your attention. There is a reason you felt a gentle pull to keep listening. Deep down, you needed confirmation. You needed to know that heaven has not gone silent over your life. My beloved child, I have never been silent. I have been speaking through circumstances, through delays, through doors that close, and through quiet moments just like this one. This message was sent only to you because your heart was ready to hear it. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not too Virgo. I am calling you closer, not to correct you, but to comfort you. Not to shame you, but to strengthen you. Lean in now. Let your guard down. Allow my words to settle into your spirit. What I am about to reveal to you will answer questions you have carried for a long time. Stay with me, my beloved child. This is the beginning of something you have been waiting for. My beloved child, long before this moment reached you, I was already watching over you with tenderness. I saw you before you even realized you needed to hear my voice. I saw the weight in your eyes earlier today. I saw the pause in your breathing when a certain thought crossed your mind. I saw the way your shoulders tensed under pressure that no one else noticed. Nothing about you is hidden from me. You may think your life is unfolding in random pieces, but I am the author who sees the entire story at once. I knew the exact second you would encounter this message. I knew what you would be feeling when you did. I knew whether you would come here out of curiosity, desperation, habit, or hope. And still, I prepared these words specifically for you. When you felt overlooked by others, I saw you. When your efforts went unrecognized, I saw you. When you tried your best and it still felt like it was not enough, I saw you. You have never moved through a single day without my awareness resting gently upon you. Even the quietest tears that slipped down your face when no one was around were counted by me. There were moments recently when you questioned your own strength. You wondered if you were falling behind. You questioned if you had missed an opportunity that would never return. You replayed conversations in your mind, thinking about what you should have said differently. My beloved child, I was there in every one of those moments, not as a distant observer, but as a father who was holding you closer than you realized. You may not have felt my presence, but my absence was never real. Sometimes my protection is quiet. Sometimes my guidance is subtle. Think of a loving father teaching a child to walk. He steps back just enough so the child can grow steady on their own feet, but he remains close enough to catch them if they fall. That is how I have been with you. When you felt alone, I was giving you room to discover strength you did not know you had. Yet I was always near, ready to steady you. There were delays that frustrated you, plans that shifted without warning, doors that seemed promising but did not open. You wondered if I had forgotten what you asked for. But I saw further than you could see. I saw what would have harmed you. I saw what would have drained your peace. I saw what would have distracted you from the deeper purpose forming within you. My not yet was not rejection. It was protection wrapped in patience. I also saw the good in you that you struggled to recognize. I saw the kindness you offered when you were exhausted. I saw the restraint you practiced when anger tried to rise. I saw the forgiveness you attempted, even when it hurt. You are growing, even when growth feels invisible. Roots grow deep beneath the soil long before green leaves appear above it. And your roots, my child, are growing stronger every day. Even this very moment, your eyes reading or your ears listening is part of a carefully woven thread in your life. I do not force your steps, but I guide your path. I whisper through small nudges. I create intersections of timing that appear ordinary but are divinely aligned. You were meant to hear this now, not yesterday and not months from now. Now, if you could see your life from my view, you would understand how carefully it has been held. The times you barely made it through were not accidents of survival. I strengthened you when you felt weak. I steadied your heart when panic tried to take over. I placed unseen shields around you in moments you never even realized were dangerous. My beloved child, before you doubt again, remember this truth. I saw you before this moment, and I will see you beyond it. There is nothing ahead that will surprise me. There is no valley so deep that my sight cannot reach you. You are known completely. You are understood fully. And you are loved without condition. Stay with me. Let that truth sink into the deepest part of your heart. You have never been invisible. You have never been abandoned. And you never will be. My beloved child, I want to speak gently to the place in you that feels tired beyond words. You have been carrying a weight that few people truly understand. On the outside, you continue moving forward. You fulfill responsibilities. You answer messages. You show up when needed. But inside, there is a quiet heaviness that has settled into your heart. I see it. It is the weight of expectations, the ones others place on you and the ones you place on yourself. It is the weight of wanting to be strong, even when you feel like collapsing. It is the weight of unanswered questions, of waiting for clarity that seems slow to arrive. You have told yourself, just keep going, but some days your strength feels thinner than you admit. There are moments when you lie awake at night, replaying worries like a loop that will not turn off. Thoughts about the future. Thoughts about finances. Thoughts about relationships that feel fragile or distant. You try to solve everything in your mind, as if thinking harder will make the answers appear. And when they do not, frustration creeps in. Fear tries to whisper that you are alone in this struggle. But you are not alone. Let me tell you a simple story. Imagine a traveler walking a long road with a heavy pack on their back. At first, the weight feels manageable, but as miles pass, the straps dig deeper into their shoulders. Your steps sow. Their breathing grows shallow. Finally, they reach a place where they can go no further. What they do not realize is that the Father has been walking just behind them the entire time, waiting for the moment when the traveler finally turns and says, "I cannot carry this anymore." My beloved child, you were never meant to carry everything by yourself. Some of what you are holding was never yours to hold. The outcomes you are trying to control. The opinions you are trying to manage. The fears you are trying to silence on your own. You have been gripping them tightly, thinking that if you just try harder, you will finally feel peace. But peace does not come from tighter control. It comes from trust. I do not say this to correct you. I say it to free you. You have done your best with what you knew. You have survived seasons that once felt impossible. But survival mode is not where I intend for you to stay. I desire rest for you. Not just physical rest, but deep, soul-level rest, the kind that loosens the tightness in your chest and quiets the noise in your mind. Bring me the weight you cannot name. Bring me the silent pressure you feel to measure up. Bring me the regret that sometimes resurfaces. Bring me the fear of failing again. You do not have to clean it up before handing it to me. I am not overwhelmed by your burdens. I am not surprised by your weakness. When a child is tired from carrying something too heavy, a loving father does not scold them. He kneels down. He lifts the weight from their small shoulders. He carries both, the load and the child if necessary. That is how I am with you. You have been stronger than you realize, but you do not have to be strong alone anymore. The weight that has pressed against your heart can begin to lift, even now. As you listen to my voice, let your breathing slow. Let your grip soften. Let yourself admit that you are tired. There is no shame in that admission. My beloved child, I am closer than the worry that keeps you awake. I am stronger than the pressure that weighs you down. You do not have to solve everything tonight. You do not have to carry tomorrow before it arrives. For this moment, simply let me hold you. The road ahead is not meant to break you, and the weight you've been carrying will not define you. I am teaching you that surrender is not weakness. It is the doorway to peace. Stay with me. We will walk the rest of this journey together. My beloved child, there were moments when a quiet thought slipped into your heart, and it sounded like this: maybe I have been forgotten. You did not say it loudly. You did not even admit it fully to yourself. But in the stillness of certain nights, when the world was silent and your prayers seemed to echo back without response, that thought tried to take root. I saw that moment. There were days when you waited for a sign, for movement, for something to change, and nothing appeared to shift. You looked at your circumstances and wondered if I had turned my face away. You saw others moving forward, celebrating milestones, stepping into opportunities, and you questioned why your own season felt paused. It felt as if heaven had grown quiet over your life. But my beloved child, silence is not absence. When a seed is buried beneath the soil, it looks forgotten, covered in darkness, hidden from sight. No applause, no visible growth. If someone judged only by what they could see, they would assume nothing was happening. But beneath the surface, life is forming. Roots are stretching. Strength is building in secret places. The silence of the soil is not abandonment. It is preparation. That is what your season has been. You mistook stillness for neglect. You mistook delay for dismissal. But I have never dismissed you. I have never misplaced your prayers. Every word you whispered, even the ones mixed with doubt, reached me. Every tear that fell in confusion was seen. I was not ignoring you. I was shaping something deeper than what you expected. Sometimes, when I do not immediately answer the way you hope, it is because I am protecting the larger picture. You were asking for relief, and I was building resilience. You were asking for open doors, and I was strengthening your character so you would be ready when they opened. You were asking for clarity, and I was teaching you trust. Think of a child learning to swim. The father stands nearby, watching carefully. The child splashes and struggles, feeling unsure. For a moment, it feels like the father has stepped too far away, but he has not left. He is observing, ready to step in if needed, allowing the child to discover strength and balance. That is how I have been with you. I have never left the edge of your life. You may not have felt dramatic miracles. You may not have seen immediate transformation. But I have been working in ways too intricate for you to see all at once. I have been aligning conversations. I have been redirecting paths. I have been preventing outcomes that would have harmed you later. What you interpreted as stagnation was often quiet protection. My beloved child, forgotten is something you are not. Forgotten implies neglect. Forgotten implies lack of care. But I know the number of breaths you have taken. I know the details of your dreams. I know the fears you try to hide even from yourself. You cannot be forgotten by the one who formed you with intention. When you felt overlooked, I was covering you. When you felt delayed, I was preparing you. When you felt alone, I was carrying you through valleys you did not even realize were dangerous. Your timeline has never slipped out of my hands. And hear me clearly now. The season that felt silent has not been wasted. Nothing you endured was meaningless. Nothing you waited through was pointless. The strength you have gained in this quiet season will support you in the visible one that is coming. Lift your eyes, my beloved child. The silence was not a sign that I had left. It was the sign that I was working in depths you could not yet see. You were never forgotten. Not for a second. Not for a breath. Not for a single heartbeat. My beloved child, the fiercest battles you have faced were not always visible to others. They did not happen in loud arguments or dramatic moments. They happened quietly, inside your mind. Thoughts that would not slow down. Fears that replayed themselves over and over. Scenarios you imagined, trying to prepare yourself for every possible outcome. And in that mental noise, your peace felt distant. I have seen the war inside your thoughts. There were days when your mind felt like a stormy sea. One wave of worry would crash into another. What if this goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I lose what I care about most? The questions came quickly, and before you could answer one, another would rise. You tried to reason with them. You tried to distract yourself. But at night, when everything grew quiet, the thoughts grew louder. My beloved child, not every thought that enters your mind deserves your agreement. You have believed some lies simply because they repeated themselves often. The lie that you are not enough. The lie that you will always struggle this way. The lie that peace is for others, but not for you. These whispers did not come from me. My voice does not accuse you. My voice does not rush you with panic. My voice brings calm, even when the world around you feels uncertain. Think of your mind as a house with many rooms. Thoughts come knocking at the door. Some are helpful. Some are harmful. Yet you have sometimes opened the door to fear and allowed it to sit at your table, speaking freely. You thought you had no choice. But you do have authority over what remains. When anxiety tightens your chest and your breathing becomes shallow, I am there. When overthinking drains your energy before the day even begins, I am there. I am not disappointed that you struggle. I am compassionate toward it. But I do not want you to live trapped inside it. Peace is not the absence of challenges. Peace is my presence in the middle of them. Imagine a child caught in a thunderstorm. The sky is loud. The wind shakes the windows. The child feels small and afraid. But when the father steps into the room, sits beside the bed, and holds the child close, the storm outside does not immediately stop. Yet the fear begins to fade. The storm may still rage, but the child knows they are safe. That is what my presence does within you. The thoughts may attempt to swirl, but you do not face them alone. When fear says, "You will not make it," I say, "I am your strength." When anxiety says, "Everything will fall apart," I say, "I am holding it together." When your mind tries to predict worst-case outcomes, I remind you that your future is not in the hands of fear, it is in mine. You have been trying to control your thoughts by force, and when you cannot, you feel frustrated. But peace is not forced. It is received. It is a gentle surrender. It is choosing, even for one small moment, to trust my voice over the noise. Start small, my beloved child. When a fearful thought rises, pause. Breathe. Invite me into that space. Say, even quietly within your heart, "Father, help me see this through your eyes." I will answer. I will steady you. I will remind you of truth. Your mind was not created to be a battlefield. It was created to hold hope, creativity, wisdom, and vision. The battle you feel does not define you. It is temporary. And you are stronger than you realize because you are not fighting alone. Let my peace begin to settle over you now, like calm water after a storm. You do not have to silence every thought perfectly. Just let my presence be louder. I am guarding your mind. I am restoring your calm. And the storm inside you will not last forever. My beloved child, I know there were moments when you looked at the calendar and wondered why the season has stretched so far. You marked days. You counted months. You told yourself, "Surely something will change soon." Yet the days kept unfolding in ways that felt slow, almost unmoving. You began to ask quietly, "How much longer?" I heard that question every time it formed in your heart. Waiting can feel heavier than hardship. When you are in a clear storm, at least you know what you are fighting. But when you are in a long stretch of uncertainty, when nothing seems dramatically wrong yet nothing feels fully right, it can drain your spirit. You wake up hoping for a shift, but by nightfall, it feels like more of the same. My beloved child, what feels long to you has never been wasted to me. Think of a tree in winter. From the outside, it appears lifeless. No leaves, no fruit, no visible growth. If someone judged it by appearance alone, they would think it had stopped developing. But beneath the surface, deep within its roots, strengthening is happening. The tree is conserving energy. It is preparing for a season of bloom that will only be possible because of the quiet endurance of winter. Your life has seasons just like that. You have been in a winter season, not a season of punishment, not a season of abandonment, but a season of preparation. I have been deepening your roots. I have been strengthening parts of you that applause cannot touch. I have been teaching you patience, resilience, discernment, and trust, qualities that cannot be formed in comfort alone. If everything had accelerated when you first asked, you would not have been ready to carry what you prayed for. You were asking for expansion, but I first needed to fortify your foundation. You were asking for visible blessing, but I was shaping invisible character. There were lessons you did not even realize you were learning. You learned how to sit with uncertainty without collapsing. You learned how to move forward even when motivation was low. You learned that your identity is not tied to constant progress. Those lessons are more valuable than you understand right now. Waiting as a way of revealing what truly anchors you. At times, you tried to rush the process. You overshorted. You compared your pace to others. You wondered why their lives seemed to move faster. But comparison only magnifies frustration. Your timeline has always been uniquely designed. I am not late in your story. I'm precise. Imagine a sculptor working on a masterpiece. The stone does not understand why it is being chipped slowly, carefully, sometimes painfully. The shaping feels repetitive, but the sculptor sees the final form long before it becomes visible. Each strike has intention. Each pose has purpose. If this helped you, this rubbed you good crack. My beloved child, I see the masterpiece forming in you. The length of this season was not a sign that you were failing. It was a sign that something significant was being prepared. Long seasons often precede lasting change. Quick growth can be fragile. So growth is durable. You have wondered if you missed something, if you made a mistake that delayed everything. Release that fear. I am not reacting to your life. I am guiding it. Even your missteps have been woven into a greater design. Nothing has slipped beyond my reach. Soon, you will look back and understand why this stretch of time was necessary. You will see how it matured you. You will notice how your reactions have softened, how your priorities have shifted, how your strength has become quieter but steadier. Do not despise the length of this season. It has been building endurance within you. It has been anchoring you deeper into trust. And what is coming will require exactly the depth that this time has produced. You are not stuck. You are being prepared. Stay patient a little longer, my beloved child. The roots are strong now, and when the visible growth begins, it will be sustained by everything this long season quietly accomplished. My beloved child, there was a prayer you whispered that you thought I might have missed. It was not spoken in a grand place. It was not surrounded by perfect faith or eloquent words. It came from a tired heart, perhaps late at night, perhaps in the quiet of your car, perhaps in a moment when you felt like you had no strength left. It sounded more like a sigh than a speech, but I heard it clearly. You may not even remember the exact words. It may have been as simple as "help me," or "I cannot do this anymore," or "please show me something." That whisper carried more power than you realized, because it was honest. And I am drawn to honesty. Sometimes you think that prayers must be polished to reach me. You imagine that you need certainty before you speak. But I am not waiting for perfection. I am listening for your heart. When your voice trembles, I do not turn away. When doubt is mixed into your request, I do not reject you. I understand the language of brokenness. I understand the sound of exhaustion. There was a night when you almost gave up. You considered lowering your expectations. You thought about settling for less than what you once believed was possible. You were weary of hoping, weary of trying. In that fragile space, you spoke to me. Maybe not loudly, maybe not with full confidence, but you reached upward in some small way, and heaven responded. You may not have seen lightning or felt dramatic change the next morning, but movements began in places you could not see. Doors you had been pushing were gently closed to protect you. Conversations were being aligned. Timing was being adjusted. I began answering you not only with what you asked for, but with what you truly needed. Think of a child reaching up in the dark. They cannot see the parent clearly, but they stretch out their hand anyway. The parent does not wait for a perfect call. The parent reaches back immediately. That is what I did with you. The moment your heart lifted toward me, my hand was already extended. You questioned afterward whether your prayer was strong enough. You wondered if you believed enough. My beloved child, it was not the strength of your prayer that moved me. It was your trust, even in its smallest form. Faith, the size of a whisper, still carries weight in my presence. There are answers unfolding right now that trace back to that quiet prayer. Some are subtle shifts inside you. You are noticing that you react differently than you used to. You are seeing small glimpses of hope where there once was only frustration. That is not coincidence. That is response. You also asked for clarity. You asked for a sign that I am near. And here you are, hearing my voice speak directly into your situation. This moment is part of that answer. I am reminding you that you were heard. You are heard. Never believe that your quiet cries disappear into empty space. I collect them. I hold them. I treasure them. Even when you cannot see the immediate outcome, trust that I am working beyond the limits of your vision. There are prayers you prayed years ago that are still unfolding. There are seeds you planted in faith that are still growing beneath the surface. Nothing spoken to me in sincerity is wasted. My beloved child, continue to speak to me. Speak when you are strong. Speak when you are weak. Speak when you are confused. Speak when you are grateful. I am not tired of listening. I am not distant. I am attentive. The whisper you thought was too small reached the highest place, and I am still answering it, step by step, in ways that will soon become clear. Hold on to this truth. Your voice matters to me. Always. My beloved child, one of the quiet burdens you have carried is the feeling that you are behind. You look around and see others moving forward, achieving milestones, building families, growing careers, celebrating breakthroughs. And without even meaning to, you measure your life against theirs. A subtle question forms in your heart. Why am I not there yet? I see how comparison has tried to steal your peace. You scroll through images of success. You hear announcements of engagement, promotion, relocation, expansion. You watch others step into things you once hoped for. And instead of celebrating fully, a shadow of doubt crosses your mind. You begin to wonder if you took a wrong turn somewhere, if you missed an opportunity, if time is slipping through your hands faster than you can catch it. My beloved child, you are not late. You are not behind. You are on a timeline uniquely designed for you. Imagine a garden filled with many kinds of flowers. Some bloom early in the spring. Others wait until late summer. If the summer flower tried to bloom in April, it would not survive the cold. Its beauty depends on its timing. Each plant responds to a different season, a different rhythm of light and warmth. None are delayed. They are simply unfolding according to design. Your life unfolds in the same way. The path you walk cannot be compared to someone else's journey. Your lessons are not your lessons. Their preparation is not your preparation. What looks like rapid progress on the outside may carry unseen struggles. What looks like slow movement in your life may be deep, foundational work that will sustain you long term. You have judged yourself harshly at times. You have spoken words inside your mind that you would never say to a friend. I should be further by now. I should have figured this out. I am falling behind. My beloved child, those thoughts do not reflect my heart toward you. I am not measuring you against anyone else. I measure growth differently than the world does. I see how far you have come emotionally. I see the ways you respond with more patience than before. I see the courage it took for you to try again after disappointment. I see the quiet maturity forming in you. Those changes may not make headlines, but they are real. They matter deeply. You are not racing anyone. You are becoming who you were created to be. And becoming takes time. Think of a river carving through stone. It does not rush. It does not compete with other rivers. It flows steadily, shaping landscapes over years. Its pace is not weakness. Its persistence is strength. In the same way, your steady growth is shaping a life that will stand. Some things you desire are coming, but they are being aligned carefully. Relationships are being prepared on both sides. Opportunities are being positioned at the right intersection of timing and readiness. If they came too soon, you would feel overwhelmed. If they came too late, you would feel discouraged. I am balancing both. Trust that what is meant for you will not miss you. When you feel that familiar pressure rising again, the fear of being left behind, pause. Breathe. Remind yourself that I am not bound by human schedules. I see the beginning and the end at once. I know exactly where you stand. You are not behind. You are in process. And process is sacred. The world may celebrate speed, but I value depth. The world may applaud early arrival, but I honor steady formation. What I am building in you will not crumble easily, because it is rooted in lessons learned through patience. Lift your eyes from comparison. Release the timeline you borrowed from others. Your journey is not a delayed version of someone else's success. It is an original design, crafted with intention. My beloved child, you are exactly where you need to be for this season. And when the next step unfolds, it will not be because you forced it. It will be because it is time. Trust my timing. He has never failed you. My beloved child, there is still a door in your memory that aches when you think about it. A door you knocked on with hope. A door you prayed over. A door you believed would lead to the next chapter of your life. When it closed, it did not just disappoint you, it confused you. You had imagined what would be on the other side. You had pictured the relief, the joy, the validation. And when it did not open, you wondered if you had misunderstood my guidance. You questioned your own discernment. You asked yourself if you were not good enough, prepared enough, worthy enough. But hear me clearly now. That closed door was not rejection. It was protection. You could only see what you desired in that moment. I could see what was hidden beyond it. I could see the strain it would have placed on your peace. I could see the compromises it might have required. I could see the timing was not aligned with the deeper work unfolding in you. When a loving father pulls a child back from stepping into a road, the child may not understand. The child may cry, believing something wonderful was just within reach. But the father sees the approaching danger the child cannot yet perceive. In the same way, when I allowed that door to close, it was not to harm you. It was to guard you. You thought that opportunity defined your progress. You believed that relationship defined your future. You assumed that acceptance from that place would confirm your worth. But your worth was never dependent on that outcome. I know how it felt in the aftermath. The silence. The second guessing. The questions you replayed over and over. You may have even felt embarrassed for hoping so strongly. My beloved child, there is no shame in hope. Your willingness to believe for something good is beautiful. Do not let disappointment harden that part of you. Closed doors are not dead ends. They are redirections. There are paths you have not yet seen. There are rooms prepared that are better suited for who you are becoming. If that earlier door had opened, you might have settled too soon. You might have limited yourself to something smaller than what I am preparing. Sometimes what feels like loss is actually alignment. Think of a puzzle piece forced into the wrong place. It might almost fit. You might press harder, convinced that with enough effort it will stay. But it will never sit correctly, because it belongs somewhere else. When I remove something from your grasp, it is often because it does not truly fit your design. You are not overlooked because the door closed. You are being positioned more precisely. There is something you cannot see yet, a connection, an opportunity, a space that will recognize your value without you having to shrink or strive. It will not require you to twist yourself into shapes that do not reflect who you are. It will feel aligned, not forced. Release the belief that the closed door was your only chance. I am not limited to one opportunity for your life. I am not confined to one path. And even now, as you think back to that moment, I want peace to replace regret. Let gratitude begin to grow for what did not work out. What you thought would save you might have exhausted you. What you thought would fulfill you might have drained you. Trust that I see the whole picture. You will one day stand in a place so fitting, so timely, that you will understand why that earlier door remained shut. And you will whisper, not with bitterness but with clarity, "Now I see." My beloved child, do not be afraid of closed doors. I am guiding you with wisdom far beyond what you can see. The right door will open. And when it does, it will not need to be forced. My beloved child, there are things you believe you have lost that still ache in your heart. Time that feels wasted. Opportunities that slipped away. Relationships that fractured. Confidence that slowly faded after disappointment. You look at certain chapters of your life and wonder if they can ever be repaired. I am the God who restores. Restoration does not always mean returning things exactly as they were. Sometimes what I restore is deeper than the surface. I restore peace where anxiety once ruled. I restore courage where fear once dominated. I restore identity where shame tried to take root. You may not receive back the exact form of what you lost, but you will receive something stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who you are becoming. There were seasons when you felt broken by what happened. Words spoken over you left wounds. Choices, yours or others, left consequences you could not undo. You may have told yourself, "If only I had done it differently." But my beloved child, I am not bound by your past decisions. I can weave even your mistakes into purpose. Think of a craftsman restoring an old painting. Over time, dust settles. Colors fade. Small tears appear in the canvas. To the untrained eye, it may look beyond repair. But in the hands of a skilled restorer, the beauty beneath the damage begins to reappear. The colors brighten again. The image becomes clearer. The painting was never worthless. It only needed careful attention. That is what I am doing in you. Where trust was broken, I am rebuilding it slowly and gently. Where hope diminished, I am breathing new life into it. Where you feel you fell behind, I am redeeming the time by teaching you lessons that will accelerate your wisdom. Nothing you endured was meaningless. Even your pain hath been shaping compassion inside you. You think you lost years. I see years of preparation. You think you lost opportunities. I see doors that prevented harm. You think you lost yourself. I see a stronger version of you emerging. Restoration begins inside before it appears outside. You may already sense subtle shifts. A little more resilience. A little more clarity. a quieter confidence rising where insecurity once screamed. That is not coincidence. It is my restoring hand at work. I am also restoring joy to you. Not shallow happiness based on perfect circumstances, but deep joy rooted in knowing you are held. Joy that survives setbacks. Joy that does not disappear when plans change. That kind of joy is unshakable. And now, my beloved child, as I speak of restoration, I invite you into something sacred. When you respond to my work in your life, you become part of restoring others. There are hearts searching for hope the way you once searched. There are souls waiting to hear the very words that lifted you. As my word goes forth like seed scattered on fertile ground, every act of support becomes a harvest in someone else's life. When you choose to give through super thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link placed in the description and even shown in the QR code before you, you are not simply donating, you are sowing light into darkness. I declare to you what I have spoken. When you give, it is given back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I am the one who multiplies what you place in my hands. Right now, I stir your heart with this truth. I am inviting you to take part in spreading my voice to those still waiting. Let your support become oil that keeps this lamp burning brightly across the nations. Do not hesitate in this moment of obedience, for generosity unlocks rivers of blessing. What you release in faith, I return with increase. Step forward now and sow boldly into this mission. My beloved child, I am restoring what was lost. And through you, I will help restore others too. My beloved child, even after moments of peace, there are times when an old fear tries to return. It does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it slips back quietly, disguised as caution. It whispers, "Remember what happened last time." It tries to convince you that progress is fragile and that safety lies in shrinking back. I see when that fear knocks at your door again. You have already overcome so much. You have grown stronger, steadier, wiser. Yet when something reminds you of a past hurt, your body reacts before your mind can reason. Your heart beats faster. Your thoughts begin to spiral. It feels as if you are back in a place you already left behind. But you are not back there. Growth does not mean fear will never attempt to revisit you. Growth means you now recognize it for what it is. Before, fear felt like truth. Now, it is only a voice, one you no longer have to obey. Imagine a chain that once held someone captive. Day after day, it restricted their movement. They grew used to its way. Then one day, the chain was broken. Freedom came. But out of habit, they still move cautiously, as if the chain were there. They limit themselves, even though nothing holds them anymore. My beloved child, some of the fear you feel is only the memory of chains that have already been broken. You fear rejection because you remember past disappointment. You fear failure because you remember past mistakes. You fear loss because you remember past grief. Those memories are real, but they are not your future. You survived them. You learned from them. And I was with you through them. The fear that tries to return often grows loudest right before a breakthrough. It senses that you are stepping into something new. New confidence, new opportunity, new healing. It tries to pull you backward into what is familiar, even if familiar was painful. But I am not leading you backward. When fear says stay small, I say step forward. When fear says protect yourself at all costs, I say trust me. When fear says you will get hurt again, I say you are not the same person you were before. You have changed. You are not as fragile as you once felt. The storms you endured strengthened your foundation. The tears you cried softened your heart, but did not weaken it. You are learning to stand, not in your own power alone, but in mine. When that familiar anxiety rises, do not shame yourself for feeling it. Simply pause, acknowledge it, and bring it to me. Say, Father, this fear is knocking again. I will not dismiss you. I will stand with you. And together, we will choose courage. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward despite it. Think of a child learning to ride a bicycle after falling once before. The memory of the fall lingers. The scraped knees are still fresh in their mind. But the father stands nearby, steady and encouraging. Try again, he says gently. The child wobbles at first, but this time, something is different. They know they survived the fall. They know they can rise. That is where you are now. You are not starting from weakness. You are starting from experience. The fear that tries to return has less authority over you than it once did. You are becoming aware of your strength. And more importantly, you are becoming aware of my constant presence beside you. Do not retreat into old patterns. Do not rebuild walls I have already helped you tear down. The future ahead of you requires freedom, not confinement. My beloved child, when fear knocks, you do not have to open the door. I am guarding your heart. I am strengthening your steps. And the courage rising within you will carry you further than fear ever could. Move forward. I am with you. My beloved child, there is a deep question that has quietly followed you through life. It may not always form into words, but it lingers beneath the surface. Do I truly matter? Am I here for a reason, or am I just another face in the crowd? You have felt small in a vast world. You have wondered if your existence carries weight. Let me answer you clearly. You were chosen, not random. Your life is not an accident of chance. You are not a mistake born of coincidence. Before you took your first breath, I knew you. Before anyone spoke your name, I had already written it into purpose. Your personality, your strengths, even the challenges that shaped you, none of it is random. Think of an artist preparing a canvas. Every color is selected with intention. Every brushstroke has meaning. If someone unfamiliar with the design looked too closely at one small section, they might not understand how it fits into the whole. But the artist sees the complete image long before it is finished. In the same way, I see your entire life, past, present, and future, as one intentional masterpiece. There were moments when others misunderstood you. They may have underestimated you. They may have labeled you incorrectly. Some may have even made you feel invisible. But their limited understanding never changed my intention for you. You are not here to blend into the background of someone else's story. You are here with your own calling, your own rhythm, your own influence. Even your sensitivity, which you sometimes view as weakness, is part of your design. Even your struggles have refined you into someone capable of compassion and depth. My beloved child, you have sometimes tried to reshape yourself to fit into spaces that did not honor who you are. You thought that by adjusting your voice, your dreams, or your personality, you might finally feel accepted. But I did not create you to shrink. When you compare yourself to others, you forget that you are uniquely crafted. And no one else carries your exact combination of experiences, thoughts, gifts, and perspective. There are rooms you will enter where your presence alone will shift the atmosphere. There are conversations only you can have. There are hearts that will resonate with your story in ways you cannot yet see. You were not placed on this earth as filler. You were placed here with assignment. That assignment may not always look grand or dramatic. Sometimes it unfolds in quiet ways, through kindness offered, wisdom shared, courage demonstrated in difficult moments. Purpose is not always loud. Sometimes it is steady and faithful. There were times you doubted this. When doors closed, you questioned if you were overlooked. When rejection happened, you wondered if you were unqualified. But rejection from people does not equal rejection from me. Closed doors do not cancel your calling. They refine it. Imagine a key crafted for a specific lock. If that key is placed into the wrong door, it will not turn. That does not mean the key is flawed. It simply means it was designed for a different place. In the same way, when certain environments did not fit you, it was not proof that you were inadequate. It was proof that you are specific. I chose you for this time, for this generation, for this exact moment in history. You carry insight shaped by your era, empathy shaped by your battles, and strength shaped by your survival. Nothing about your placement here is accidental. When doubt whispers that you are insignificant, remember this. I do not create without purpose. I do not design without intention. You are here because I desired you here. Walk with that confidence. Stand with that assurance. You are chosen, deeply and deliberately. And the world is different because you are in it. My beloved child, there were storms you walked through that you never imagined surviving. When they first appeared on your horizon, dark and heavy, you questioned whether you had the strength to endure them. The winds felt relentless. The rain did not seem to stop. At times, you felt like you were simply trying to stay standing while everything around you shook. But look at you now. You are still here. The storm did not destroy you. It shaped you. In the middle of it, you could not see growth. All you felt was discomfort. You felt confusion. You felt pain. You may have even felt anger or deep disappointment. You asked why it had to be so hard. You wondered if you had done something to deserve such intensity. My beloved child, the storm was not punishment. It was refinement. Think of gold placed into fire. The heat does not exist to ruin the gold. It exists to remove what does not belong. Impurities rise to the surface and are carefully removed, leaving something purer and stronger behind. The fire feels unbearable in the moment, but the outcome is valuable beyond measure. In the same way, the pressure you faced revealed strength you did not know you carried. Before the storm, you doubted your resilience. You questioned your capacity. But when circumstances demanded endurance, you discovered that you could keep going, even when your emotions told you to give up. A storm forced you to let go of certain illusions. Illusions about control. Illusions about who would always stay. Illusions about what you thought you needed to feel secure. It stripped away false foundations and showed you what truly matters. Yes, dear. There were nights when tears were your only language. There were mornings when getting out of bed felt like an accomplishment. There were conversations that left scars. But through every moment, I was present. I was not distant from your suffering. I was walking beside you in it. Imagine a tree in a violent wind. Its branches bend. Its leaves may scatter. But if its roots are deep, it does not uproot. The storm tests its foundation. And when the wind passes, that tree stands stronger than before because its roots have grown deeper in resistance. Your roots have grown deeper. You are not as easily shaken now. Things that once would have broken you only bend you. You have learned patience. You have learned to pause before reacting. You have learned that emotions, though powerful, do not define truth. These lessons were forged in difficulty. There is also a compassion in you now that did not exist before. Because you have known pain, you can recognize it in others. Because you have felt uncertainty, you extend gentleness to those who struggle. The storm enlarged your heart. You may still carry some scars. Scars do not mean weakness. They are proof of healing. They show where wounds once were and where restoration has already begun. Do not be ashamed of them. They tell a story of survival. My beloved child, when the next challenge appears, and life will always have seasons, you will face it differently. Not with panic, but with steadiness. Not with despair, but with quiet confidence. You have evidence now. Evidence that you endure. Evidence that I sustain you. The storm did not come to end your story. It came to strengthen it. One day, you will look back at what once terrified you and realize it was shaping you into someone braver than you imagined. What felt like breaking was actually building. Stand tall, my beloved child. The winds have passed, and you are stronger because they did. My beloved child, there are memories you rarely speak about. Moments tucked away in quiet corners of your heart. Things that happened years ago, yet still echo in certain situations. You may have learned how to function beyond them, how to smile and move forward, but parts of you remain tender. I want you to know that I am healing your past. Healing does not mean pretending it never happened. It does not mean erasing memory. It means restoring your heart so that the memory no longer controls you. There are experiences that shaped how you see yourself. Words spoken in anger, betrayal that shattered trust, rejection that cut deeply. You carried those moments like invisible marks, allowing them to influence your confidence and your choices. You sometimes replay them, wondering what you could have done differently. You question whether you were too much or not enough. My beloved child, what happened to you is not the measure of your worth. When a child falls and scrapes their knee, they may look at the wound and think something is permanently damaged. But with care, attention, and time, the skin closes. The pain fades. A scar may remain, but it no longer bleeds. That is what I am doing within you. I am tending to the places that once felt raw. You have tried to be strong about your past. You have told yourself, it's over. It shouldn't affect me anymore. But healing is not about ignoring pain. It is about bringing it into the light where it can be transformed. I do not ask you to minimize what hurt you. I ask you to trust me with it. There were moments when you felt alone in your suffering. You may have believed that no one truly understood the depth of what you carried. But I was there when it happened. I saw your tears before they fell. I heard your silent questions. I felt the heaviness in your chest when you struggled to breathe through the emotion. You are not weak for being affected. You are human, and I cherish your humanity. The past may have shaped certain fears within you. Perhaps you hesitate to trust because trust was broken. Perhaps you hold back from fully expressing yourself because vulnerability once led to hurt. Perhaps you overthink every decision because mistakes once cost you dearly. These patterns are understandable, but they do not have to define your future. Healing is a gentle process. It does not rush. It unfolds in layers. Sometimes it surprises you. You may notice that something that once triggered you no longer holds the same power. You may find yourself responding with calm where you once reacted with anxiety. These are signs of restoration at work. Think of a fractured bone that heals stronger at the point where it once broke. The body reinforces that area, building strength around the weakness. In the same way, the very places that hurt you most can become sources of wisdom, empathy, and discernment. My beloved child, I am not asking you to relive every painful moment. I am asking you to release the belief that your past has the final word. It does not. Your story is still being written. The chapters that caused you pain are not the conclusion. They are part of the journey that led you to greater depth and compassion. They taught you boundaries. They taught you resilience. They taught you the importance of truth and love. Let me continue this healing work. When old memories surface, do not push them away in fear. Bring them to me. Say, Father, this still hurts. I will meet you there, not with judgment, but with comfort. You are not defined by what wounded you. You are defined by the love that sustains you, and that love is stronger than any pain you have known. Trust me, my beloved child. Your past is not your prison, is becoming part of your testimony of healing. My beloved child, you have been standing in a place of waiting for longer than you expected. You have tried to be patient. You have tried to trust. Yet there have been days when hope felt fragile, like a small flame flickering in strong wind. You wondered if anything would ever truly change. Hear me clearly now. The waiting is about to shift. There is a difference between stagnant waiting and sacred preparation. What you have experienced was not emptiness. It was alignment. Pieces have been moving quietly behind the scenes. Conversations have been positioned. Opportunities have been forming. Timing hath been orchestrated with precision that you could not yet see. You have felt subtle changes inside you lately. A new steadiness. A new awareness. A sense that something is different, even if you cannot fully explain it. That is because transition has already begun internally before it becomes visible externally. Think of the moment just before sunrise. The night still appears dark. The sky does not instantly turn bright. But there is a shift in the air, a softness, a quiet promise that light is near. Those who rise early can sense it before the sun breaks over the horizon. You are standing in that kind of moment. The season of heavy stillness is loosening its grip. What felt unmoving is beginning to stir. This does not mean everything will change overnight, but it does mean movement has begun. The seeds planted during your waiting are ready to push through the soil. You have grown more prepared than you realize. Earlier, you desired change mostly for relief. Now you desire it with maturity. You are no longer chasing movement out of desperation. You are ready to step forward with wisdom. Sometimes I allow waiting to stretch so that your desires can be purified. What once felt urgent now feels clearer. You have learned what truly matters. You have released some expectations that were not aligned with your deepest purpose. And now, what remains is refined. My beloved child, remain attentive. When opportunity begins to unfold, it may not look exactly as you imagine. It may come quietly rather than dramatically. It may arrive through conversation, through an idea, through a simple invitation. Do not overlook small beginnings. When a river changes course, it does not do so with noise. It gradually redirects its flow, reshaping the land over time. In the same way, the shift in your life may feel subtle at first, but it will carry lasting impact. Guard your heart from discouragement in this final stretch of waiting. Often, just before breakthrough, doubt tries to whisper again. It suggests that nothing will happen. It tempts you to lower your expectations. Do not surrender hope now. You are closer than you think. The strength you built in waiting will sustain you in movement. You will not step into what is coming as the same person who first prayed for it. You will step in with humility, with clarity, with gratitude. Trust that my timing is not random. I am not rushing you, and I am not delaying you unnecessarily. I am aligning every piece so that when doors open, they open at the right moment. Lift your eyes with expectation again. Not anxious expectation, but peaceful anticipation. You do not have to force change. You only need to remain open. The waiting is not your permanent state. It has been a chapter, not the entire story. And as this chapter turns, you will recognize that nothing was wasted. My beloved child, prepare your heart. The shift you have longed for is nearer than it has ever been. Stay steady. Stay trusting. The dawn is approaching. My beloved child, beneath many of your thoughts and decisions lies one quiet desire to feel safe. Safe to rest. Safe to trust. Safe to be fully yourself without fear of harm or rejection. You have learned to protect your heart carefully because life has shown you how fragile moments can be. But I want you to hear this deeply. You are safe with me. Safety is not merely the absence of danger. It is the presence of steady love. It is knowing that even if storms rise, you are not facing them alone. There have been times when uncertainty made you feel exposed. It will shift unexpectedly. Plans dissolved. In those moments, you long for something solid to stand on. I am that foundation. Imagine a child running freely in a wide field, knowing their father is watching. The child explores, laughs, even stumbles at times, but they are not paralyzed by fear because they trust the one who stands nearby. That trust creates freedom. It allows the child to grow without constant anxiety. My beloved child, I desire that kind of freedom for you. You have spent energy trying to control outcomes because control feels like protection. You calculate possibilities. You anticipate worst-case scenarios. You brace yourself emotionally, thinking it will hurt less if you are prepared. But constant vigilance is exhausting. It steals joy from the present moment. True safety is not found in predicting everything. It is found in trusting me with what you cannot predict. There are dangers you never saw that I have already shielded you from. There were outcomes that could have wounded you deeply, but I redirected them quietly. You may never fully know how often my protection surrounded you. Some of my greatest acts in your life have been the unseen ones. When fear whispers that something will fall apart, remember this: I am holding together what you cannot. When anxiety says you must handle everything alone, remember that you were never meant to carry that weight by yourself. Safety with me also means you can bring me your honest self. You do not need to perform. You do not need to hide weakness. You do not need to pretend you understand everything. I am not threatened by your questions. I am not disappointed by your doubts. I welcome your authenticity. There is a peace that comes when you stop striving for approval and rest in my acceptance. That peace steadies your heart. It slows your racing thoughts. It allows you to breathe more deeply. Think of a storm outside a house. The wind may howl. Rain may strike the windows. But inside, if the walls are strong and the foundation is secure, there is warmth and shelter. You can hear the storm without being consumed by it. That is what my presence is like in your life. The world around you may not always be calm. Circumstances may still shift, but your inner security can remain steady because it is rooted in something unshakable. My beloved child, you do not have to live in survival mode. You do not have to constantly guard every corner of your heart. You are allowed to soften. You are allowed to trust. I am not fragile. I do not change with every circumstance. I do not abandon when things become complicated. My love is not conditional on your performance. Rest here for a moment. Let your shoulders relax. Let the tightness in your chest ease. Remind yourself that you are not navigating this life alone. You are safe in my care. You are covered by my presence. And no matter what unfolds around you, my steady love remains your shelter. My beloved child, one of the quiet pains you carry comes from being misunderstood. There were moments when your intentions were pure, yet your actions were interpreted wrongly. You tried to explain yourself, but your words seemed to fall short. You walked away from certain conversations feeling unseen, unheard, and unfairly judged. I was there in those moments. You have a heart that feels deeply. You think carefully. You carry intentions that are often more loving than people realize. But not everyone sees the depth within you. Some only see a fragment. Some judge based on their own wounds or assumptions. And when that happens, it can feel like a sharp sting. There were times you questioned yourself because of it. You wondered, am I too sensitive? Am I too quiet? Am I too different? My beloved child, your uniqueness is not a flaw. It is part of your design. Imagine a diamond placed in dim lighting. To someone glancing quickly, it may look ordinary, but under the right light, its brilliance becomes undeniable. In the same way, not every environment reveals your full value. That does not diminish your worth. It hurts when people misunderstand your silence as indifference, when they interpret your boundaries as rejection, when they misread your strength as coldness. But I know your heart fully. I see the motives behind your actions. I understand the reasons for your choices. There is comfort in being fully known. You do not need to chase validation from every person who questions you. You do not need to exhaust yourself trying to correct every misconception. Some misunderstandings are not yours to fix. Sometimes silence is wiser than defense. Think of a tree growing tall in a crowded forest. Some may look at it and think it stands too differently, too prominently. They may not understand its shape or the direction of its branches. But the tree does not bend itself into another's form just to be accepted. It grows according to its design. My beloved child, grow according to yours. There were relationships that ended because others could not fully see you. You grieved those losses. You may still feel the ache. But separation does not always mean failure. Sometimes it simply means alignment was not mutual. I am not asking you to harden your heart against those who misunderstood you. I am asking you to release the burden of proving yourself endlessly. Your peace is more valuable than constant explanation. In time, the right people will recognize your sincerity. They will see the consistency of your character. They will appreciate your depth rather than feel threatened by it. You will not need to perform for them. You will not need to shrink or exaggerate parts of yourself. Until then, trust that my understanding of you is complete. When you feel the sting of being misjudged, bring that pain to me. Let me remind you who you truly are. Let me affirm the intentions that others overlooked. Let me quiet the self-doubt that tries to creep in afterward. You are not defined by someone else's limited perception. You are defined by the truth I have placed within you. Continue to walk with integrity. Continue to speak with kindness. Continue to set boundaries when needed. Those who are meant to walk beside you will see the real you clearly. My beloved child, being misunderstood does not mean you are wrong. It simply means not everyone has the capacity to understand your depth. Stand firm in who you are. I see you fully, and that is enough. My beloved child, there are practical concerns that weigh on your heart more often than you admit. Bills that need to be paid. Responsibilities that do not pause. Numbers that you calculate repeatedly in your mind, hoping they will stretch far enough. You try to stay calm, but sometimes the uncertainty presses heavily against your thoughts. I see those worries. Provision is not a small concern. It touches your sense of stability, your plans for the future, even your sense of dignity. You want to handle your responsibilities well. You want to be secure. You want to avoid being a burden to anyone. These desires are understandable. But when financial or practical pressure grows, fear can quickly follow. You may have asked yourself, will I have enough? What if something unexpected happens? What if I cannot sustain this? These questions can circle endlessly, stealing rest from your nights and focus from your days. My beloved child, I am your provider. This does not mean you will never face challenges. It does not mean every desire will appear instantly. But it does mean you are not alone in carrying the weight of provision. There have already been moments in your life when resources came just in time. Opportunities appeared unexpectedly. Solutions formed where none seemed visible before. Those were not coincidences. Think of a shepherd guiding sheep through changing terrain. Some valleys look dry. Some paths look uncertain. But the shepherd knows where water lies ahead. The sheep may not see it yet, but they are being led toward it step by step. In the same way, I see the full landscape of your needs. I know what is coming before you do. I know which opportunities will open and which expenses will pass. I am not surprised by your situation. There are times when scarcity feels louder than trust. You look at what you currently have and measure it against what is required. The gap seems intimidating. But remember this: what you see now is not the full picture. I work beyond visible numbers. Provision also comes in forms you might not immediately recognize. Wisdom to make better decisions. Discipline to manage what you already have. Creative ideas that open new streams. Favor in conversations. Timing that aligns unexpectedly. These are all parts of my provision. I do not ask you to ignore reality. I ask you to face it with faith rather than panic. When worry rises, pause. Instead of letting it spiral, bring it to me directly. Say, Father, you see this need. Release it into my care. An act of trust does not remove responsibility, but it removes the crushing weight of believing everything depends solely on you. You were never meant to live under constant financial fear. Anxiety about tomorrow steals joy from today. It makes you rush decisions or cling too tightly to what you have. But when you trust me as your source, not just your circumstances, peace begins to return. Remember how many times you have made it through before. Situations that once looked impossible eventually shifted. You are still standing. You are still moving forward. My beloved child, I am attentive to every detail of your life. Your needs matter to me. Your daily concerns are not too small. I care about the practical aspects of your world as much as the spiritual ones. Take one step at a time. Make wise choices. Remain diligent. And let me carry the fear you have been holding. You will not be abandoned in your provision. I am guiding you toward stability, even if the path requires patience. Trust that I am already ahead of you, preparing what you need. You are not alone in this, and you will have enough for what lies ahead. My beloved child, there is a dream you once carried that you have slowly pushed aside. It did not disappear all at once. It faded quietly, little by little, under the weight of responsibility, disappointment, and doubt. You told yourself it was unrealistic. You convinced yourself it was safer not to hope for it anymore. But I remember that dream clearly. It was placed in your heart for a reason. It may have been a calling, a creative desire, a new direction, or a vision for your future. When it first stirred within you, it brought excitement. You felt alive thinking about it. Yet as time passed and obstacles appeared, you began to question whether it was meant for you at all. Perhaps someone spoke words that discouraged you. Perhaps circumstances made it seem impossible. Perhaps fear whispered that you were not capable. Slowly, you placed that dream on a shelf, telling yourself that practicality mattered more. My beloved child, practicality has its place. Responsibility matters. But bearing a dream out of fear is not wisdom. It is protection disguised as surrender. Imagine a seed placed into the ground. If it is buried and forgotten without care, it may never grow. But if it is planted with intention, watered patiently, and exposed to light, it begins to break through the soil. Growth often looks messy at first. It requires vulnerability. It requires stepping into the unknown. The dream you almost buried is not foolish. It is part of your design. That dream may not look exactly the same as it once did. It may need refining. It may need patience. It may unfold differently than you imagined. But the core desire, the passion, the pull, the sense of purpose is still alive within you. You feel it sometimes when you see someone else doing something similar. A small spark lights inside you. It is not envy. It is recognition. It is your heart whispering, "That resonates with me." You have been cautious because you fear disappointment. You do not want to try and fail again. You do not want to invest energy only to face rejection. That hesitation is understandable. But do not let fear become the gatekeeper of your future. I did not place that longing within you to mock you. I placed it there because it aligns with the gifts I have woven into you. Think of a musician who stops playing for years. The instrument gathers dust. But when they finally pick it up again, the music is still there. It may require practice. It may require tuning. But the melody was never erased. In the same way, your dream may need tuning. It may need discipline and clarity. But it is not too late. Do not measure the possibility of your dream solely by your current resources. Growth often begins small. One step, one decision, one conversation, one act of courage. You do not need to announce it loudly. You do not need immediate results. Begin quietly if you must. Explore gently. Learn patiently. Allow the dream to breathe again. My beloved child, you are not too old. You are not too late. You are not too inexperienced. Those are fears speaking, not truth. If that dream aligns with love, growth, and purpose, I will guide your steps within it. I will open doors in the right timing. I will close those that would harm you. But you must be willing to uncover what you buried. There is life in that vision still. Take it down from the shelf in your heart. Look at it again without shame. Ask me to help you refine it. Let curiosity replace fear. The dream you almost buried may become part of the next chapter unfolding before you. Do not silence what I have planted within you. It is there for a reason, and you are more capable than you believe. My beloved child, there are battles around you that you cannot always see. Not every struggle is visible. Not every obstacle is physical. Some of the chains that tried to hold you back were subtle, patterns of thinking, cycles in relationships, fears passed down quietly through generations. But I am breaking chains you cannot see. You may have noticed certain patterns in your life that seem to repeat. The same kind of disappointment, the same emotional triggers, the same self-doubt appearing at familiar moments. You wondered why it felt like walking in circles. You tried to change behaviors, to think differently, to act stronger, and yet sometimes the pattern returned. What you could not see was the deeper root beneath those patterns. Chains are not always made of metal. Sometimes they are formed from beliefs planted long ago, words spoken over you as a child, experiences that shaped your identity, unhealed wounds that influenced your reactions. These invisible chains can feel normal because you have carried them for so long. What normal does not mean permanent. Imagine a person who has lived in a dimly lit room for years. They have grown used to the shadows. They have memorized the furniture so they do not stumble. Then one day, someone opens the curtains wide. At first, the light feels uncomfortable. It reveals dust in the air and details long hidden. But the light also brings clarity and freedom. That is what I am doing within you. I am shining light into areas you once avoided. You may notice yourself recognizing unhealthy patterns more quickly. You may feel convicted to respond differently than you used to. You may sense a quiet strength rising when old triggers attempt to pull you back. That is not coincidence. That is freedom beginning. Some chains were emotional. You carried guilt longer than necessary. You replayed mistakes repeatedly, believing they define you. But guilt that leads to growth is healthy. Guilt that traps you in shame is not from me. I am loosening that hold. Some chains were relational. You tolerated treatment that diminished your worth because you feared being alone. You accepted less than you deserved because it felt familiar. I am teaching you to recognize your value and walk away from what diminishes it. Some chains were mental. Thoughts that once felt automatic are now being questioned. Lies that once sounded convincing are losing their power. You are learning to pause before believing every negative voice in your mind. Dream of and views of familiar at first. When a bird that has lived in a cage is released, it may hesitate before flying. The open sky can feel overwhelming after confinement, but its wings were always designed for flight. It simply forgot. My beloved child, your spirit was designed for freedom. Breaking chains does not always happen in one dramatic moment. Sometimes it is gradual. A conversation where you speak up instead of staying silent. A decision to forgive rather than hold bitterness. A boundary set where there was once fear. Each of these is a link being removed. You may not see every chain that has already fallen away, but I do. There are paths ahead that would have once triggered you deeply, but now you will walk them with steadiness. There are conversations that would have intimidated you, but now you will approach them with clarity. There are opportunities that would have felt impossible, but now you will step forward with courage. This is not your own strength alone. This is my work within you. My beloved child, do not return to cages I am opening. Do not pick up burdens I am removing. When you feel old habits pulling, pause and remember, you are not bound as you once were. I am breaking chains you cannot see, and the freedom forming in you will allow you to step into your next season lighter, stronger, and more confident than ever before. You were not created to live confined. You were created to walk free. My beloved child, there is a loneliness you rarely speak about. It does not always come from being physically alone. Sometimes it appears even in a crowded room. You can be surrounded by voices, laughter, conversation, and still feel unseen in the deepest part of your heart. I know that loneliness. It is the feeling that no one fully understands what you carry. It is the sense that you are present, but not truly known. You have connections, yes. You have people around you. But there are layers of your thoughts and emotions that remain unspoken because you fear they may not be received. You have learned to function independently. You have grown comfortable solving things on your own. You tell yourself you do not need much from anyone. But deep within you, there is still a longing, to be understood without having to explain everything, to be valued without performing, to be embraced without conditions. My beloved child, that longing is not weakness. It is part of how you were created. You were not designed for isolation. You were designed for connection. But connection begins first with the assurance that you are fully known. And you are fully known by me. When you sit quietly with your thoughts and feel that ache of aloneness, I am there. When you scroll through conversations and feel slightly disconnected, I am there. When you hesitate to share something personal because you are unsure how it will be received, I am there. Imagine a child walking through a crowded marketplace, holding tightly to their father's hand. There is noise everywhere. Strangers pass by. Voices rise and fall. But the child does not feel lost because they are anchored to one steady presence. That is what my companionship is meant to be for you. Your loneliness does not surprise me. I do not criticize you for it. I draw near to it. I sit beside you in those quiet moments. I whisper comfort when your heart feels heavy. Sometimes loneliness also comes from transition. You had outgrown certain spaces. Conversations that once felt meaningful now feel shallow. Environments that once fit comfortably now feel restrictive. Growth can create temporary solitude. It can separate you from familiar circles before new ones are formed. Do not interpret this as abandonment. When a tree grows taller, its branches rise above the surrounding shrubs. It may look isolated at first, but it is simply reaching a new height. In time, it will stand among other trees that have grown to similar strength. My beloved child, you are in a season of growth, and sometimes growth requires a period of solitude. This solitude is not permanent. It is preparation. It is teaching you to become comfortable with yourself, with your thoughts, with your voice. It is strengthening your relationship with me so that when new connections enter your life, they will not define your identity. They will complement it. You are never truly alone. Even when you cannot feel it, my presence surrounds you. Even when you wish someone understood you better, remember that I understand you completely. Speak to me in those quiet hours. Tell me what you hesitate to tell others. Share your doubts, your dreams, your frustrations. I am not distracted. I am not impatient. I am attentive. And trust this, I am also aligning people who will see you more clearly. Friendships that resonate with your depth. Conversations that nourish your soul. Relationships that reflect mutual understanding. The loneliness you hide will not define your story. It is a chapter, not the ending. My beloved child, you are seen. You are heard. And you are never walking through this life alone. My beloved child, family carries a special weight in your heart. It is where you first learn love, but also where you may have first experienced pain. Family can be a source of comfort, yet at times it becomes a place of tension, misunderstanding, or silent distance. I see the complexity you carry regarding your family. There may be unspoken words that linger between you and someone close. Conversations that never fully resolved. Patterns that repeat across generations. Expectations that feel heavy on your shoulders. You may love deeply, yet still feel strained by certain dynamics. Family wounds can cut deeply because they touch identity. They shape how you see yourself and how you believe you are seen. Perhaps you felt overlooked. Perhaps you felt pressured to be something specific. Perhaps you were placed in a role that required you to grow up too quickly. My beloved child, I am not unaware of these tensions. You may long for harmony. You may wish that certain relationships felt easier. You may wonder if healing is even possible in situations that seem stuck. Hear me gently. Change often begins within one heart at a time. You cannot control every response or rewrite every past moment, but you can allow me to reshape how you carry it. Imagine a garden that has grown wild over time. Some plants flourish, others compete for space. Weeds entangle around healthy roots. Restoring it does not happen in one day. It requires patience, trimming, replanting, and nurturing. Family relationships are similar. They require care and time. There may be boundaries you need to maintain for your well-being. Boundaries are not rejection. They are protection of peace. There may be forgiveness you are learning to offer, not because what happened was small, but because you do not want bitterness to define you. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It means releasing the desire to carry resentment as armor. You might feel responsible for holding everything together. You may have taken on roles that were never fully yours. You may feel pressure to fix conflicts or meet everyone's expectations. My beloved child, you are not the savior of your family. That burden is too heavy for you. You are called to walk in love, wisdom, and truth. Loving more. Sometimes healing begins with one honest conversation. Sometimes it begins with quiet prayer and internal release. Sometimes it begins with accepting that certain relationships may never look exactly as you hoped, yet choosing peace within yourself regardless. I am also working in the hearts of those connected to you. Even when you cannot see it, seeds are being planted. Softening can happen slowly. Walls can lower over time. If you are grieving what your family could have been, I understand that sorrow is real. But do not let grief overshadow gratitude for what is good. Even in imperfect families, there are moments of warmth, memories of laughter, glimpses of connection. Hold on to those while releasing what you cannot control. My beloved child, you are not defined solely by your family history. You are not trapped by generational patterns. What was handed down to you does not have to dictate what you pass forward. You have the power, with my guidance, to create healthy rhythms, to model gentleness, to speak differently, to love wisely. And if certain relationships remain strained, remember this: your peace does not depend on everyone understanding you perfectly. It depends on staying anchored in truth and love. Bring your family concerns to me. Lay them down without shame. I care about the people you care about. I care about the dynamics that trouble you. Trust that restoration is possible in ways you may not yet imagine. And even where restoration takes time, I will guard your heart. My beloved child, you are not alone in navigating your family's story. I am present within it, guiding you toward peace. My beloved child, there was a time when trusting felt natural to you. You opened your heart more easily. You believed words at face value. You hoped without hesitation. But then something happened. A promise was broken. A truth was hidden. A bond you believed was secure began to crack. And since then, trust has not come as easily. You learned to guard yourself. You became cautious with your words. You measured your vulnerability carefully. You told yourself that this was wisdom, that this was strength. And in many ways, it was necessary for a season. Protection helped you survive. But survival is not the same as living. I am gently teaching you to trust again. Not blindly, not foolishly, but wisely. There is a difference between naive trust and mature trust. Mature trust understands that people are imperfect, yet still believes connection is possible. Imagine someone who once fell while learning to walk on uneven ground. For a while, they avoid that path entirely. They choose safer roads. But eventually, if they are to grow stronger, they must step again onto uneven terrain. This time with better balance, stronger muscles, and greater awareness. You are not the same person you were when you reversed her. You have learned. You have grown. You see red flags more clearly now. You understand your boundaries better. Trusting again does not mean ignoring lessons from the past. It means applying them with wisdom. My beloved child, I also want you to trust me more deeply. There were moments when you questioned my timing. When prayers seemed delayed, you wondered if I was truly listening. When doors closed unexpectedly, you questioned whether I was guiding you at all. Those questions were not sinful. They were human. But now, as you look back, you can see how certain disappointments protected you. You can see how certain delays matured you. Piece by piece, evidence of my faithfulness has been revealed. Trust grows through experience. Just as a child learns to trust their father after being consistently caught when they jump, you are learning that I do not let you fall beyond recovery. Even when you stumble, I steady you. You may still feel hesitant. That is natural. Trust rebuilds gradually. It is not a switch that flips overnight. It is a process. It is a choice repeated in small moments. When you share a vulnerable thought with someone safe, that is trust rebuilding. When you choose to believe a kind word instead of assuming hidden motives, that is trust rebuilding. When you surrender a worry to me instead of holding it tightly, that is trust rebuilding. There is courage in choosing openness after hurt. You fear being disappointed again. You fear looking foolish for believing. But consider this. Closing your heart entirely protects you from pain, but it also blocks joy. Connection requires wisp. Growth requires vulnerability. I am not asking you to trust everyone equally. Discernment is wisdom. But I am inviting you to release the belief that trust itself is dangerous. You were created for relationship. You were designed to love and be loved. The pain you experience does not cancel that design. My beloved child, I am patient with your pace. I do not rush your healing. I walk with you as you test your footing again. I celebrate every small step you take toward openness. Let your heart soften gradually. Let hope re-enter slowly. Let your faith stretch gently. You do not need to return to who you were before the hurt. You are becoming someone stronger, someone who trusts with eyes open and heart anchored in truth. And as you trust again, you will discover that the capacity for love within you was never destroyed. It was simply waiting to be restored. My beloved child, if you could see yourself through my eyes for just a moment, you would be surprised by the strength you carry. You often focus on where you feel fragile. You notice your moments of doubt. You remember the times you felt overwhelmed. But I see something deeper in you, resilience that has been quietly forming through every challenge. There were seasons when you believed you would not make it through. You felt stretched beyond your limits. You thought your endurance had reached its end. Yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still seeking growth. That is strength. Strength is not always loud. It does not always look like bold speeches or dramatic victories. Sometimes strength is simply getting up again after a restless night. Sometimes it is choosing kindness when you feel hurt. Sometimes it is staying soft in a world that tempts you to harden. You underestimate how much you have already overcome. Think back to a moment in your past that once felt impossible. A loss you thought would break you. A responsibility you felt unprepared to handle. A incision that should be your foundation. At the time, you could not imagine how you would survive it. But step by step, you did. You adapted. You learned. You grew. Strength often reveals itself only in hindsight. When you are in the middle of difficulty, you feel exposed and uncertain. But once you emerge, you realize you were stronger than you believe. Imagine a bridge being tested with weight. It may creak under pressure, but if it holds, its structure proves reliable. The pressure does not weaken it, it confirms its strength. In the same way, the pressures you face did not destroy you. They revealed the depth of your endurance. My beloved child, your tears did not make you weak. They were part of your processing. Your questions did not make you fragile. They were part of your searching. Your moments of fear did not erase your courage. Courage is choosing to move forward despite fear. There is also emotional strength growing in you. You are more self-aware than you once were. You pause before reacting. You reflect before speaking. You are learning to regulate emotions rather than be ruled by them. These are signs of maturity. You may not feel powerful, but quiet consistency is powerful. The ability to remain grounded in uncertainty is powerful. The willingness to keep loving despite past wounds is powerful. I have been strengthening you in ways you did not notice. Every time you resisted bitterness, your heart grew stronger. Every time you chose patience over impulse, your character grew stronger. Every time you trusted me in small ways, your faith grew stronger. You are not as fragile as you fear. The challenges ahead will not catch you unprepared. The resilience you have developed will support you. And more than that, my presence within you is your greatest strength. Remember this: strength is not the absence of need. You still rely on me. You still seek guidance. That dependence does not weaken you. It anchors you. My beloved child, do not diminish the growth that has already occurred. Do not compare your journey to someone else's display of confidence. Your strength may look different, but it is real. You have survived storms. You have endured waiting. You have navigated uncertainty. And through it all, you have not lost your capacity to hope. That is strength beyond measure. Stand a little taller today. Recognize the resilience within you. You are not merely surviving. You are becoming steady, grounded, and capable. The strength you didn't know you had is now part of who you are, and it will carry you into the next chapter with quiet confidence. My beloved child, you have tried to imagine your future many times. You have pictured different outcomes. You have rehearsed scenarios in your mind, both hopeful and fearful. But there are things ahead of you that you have not been able to picture clearly, not because they are impossible, but because they are beyond what you have allowed yourself to expect. What is coming will surprise you, not in a way that overwhelms you, but in a way that restores your wonder. You have grown cautious with hope. You have lowered expectations at times to protect your heart from disappointment. You have told yourself, I will not get too excited. But the chapter ahead carries moments that will gently exceed your guarded expectations. Surprise does not always mean dramatic change overnight. Sometimes it arrives as an opportunity you did not apply for, a connection you did not plan, a solution you did not anticipate, a conversation that shifts direction unexpectedly. You may have thought you understood the full map of your life. You have traced possible paths based on your current circumstances. But I see roads you have not considered. I see intersections forming that you cannot yet see from where you stand. Imagine walking along a familiar trail, believing you know every turn. Then, as you round a corner, the trees open to reveal a breathtaking view you did not know was there. The path was ordinary moments before. The surprise was waiting just beyond your line of sight. That is how some blessings arrive. You have asked for clarity, for movement, for change. but I am also preparing you for joy. Joy that feels undeserved. Joy that feels almost too good to be true. And when it comes, I want you to receive it without suspicion. Do not let past disappointments convince you that good things are temporary or fragile. Yes, life contains challenges, but it also contains gifts. And I delight in placing moments of beauty along your journey. There will be doors that open in ways that feel effortless compared to the doors you once forced. There will be affirmations that quiet years of doubt. There will be peace in situations where you expected tension. You may question at first whether it is real. You may wait for something to go wrong. But remember this: not every blessing is a test. Some are simply expressions of my care. My beloved child, remain open. Remain expectant. The surprises ahead are not random. They are aligned with the growth you have undergone. The patience you learned, the resilience you built, the wisdom you gained. All of it prepares you to receive what is coming. Surprise also requires flexibility. When something new appears, you may need to release an old plan. You may need to say yes to something outside your comfort zone. Trust your discernment. If it carries peace and alignment, do not shrink back out of fear. There is beauty in the unexpected. You once prayed for change. You once asked for movement. Those prayers are not forgotten. Some are unfolding in ways you did not predict because the outcome will be better suited to who you are now. Lift your eyes beyond your current view. Open in, not recklessly but confidently. You are not walking toward disappointment as your destiny. You are walking toward growth, connection, and moments of fulfillment that will remind you why the waiting mattered. What is coming will not confuse you. It will confirm you. My beloved child, let anticipation replace anxiety. The path ahead holds more than you can currently imagine. And when those surprises unfold, you will recognize my hand in them. Stay ready. Stay open. Beautiful moments are closer than you think. My beloved child, the world around you is loud. Opinions rise from every direction. Advice comes quickly. Expectations press in from culture, from family, from friends, from your own inner critic. It can become difficult to know which voice to follow. In the midst of that noise, I am calling you to stay close to my voice. My voice does not compete by shouting. It does not rush you with fear. It does not shame you into movement. My voice is steady. It is calm. It carries clarity even when the path ahead is still forming. There have been times when you acted quickly because pressure pushed you. You made decisions out of urgency rather than peace. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it left you feeling unsettled. That unease was not condemnation. It was an invitation to slow down and listen more closely. Imagine a shepherd guiding sheep across uneven terrain. The sheep recognize the shepherd's voice, not because it is the loudest sound in the field, but because they have spent time listening to it. Other noises may call to them, but they learn to distinguish the familiar tone that carries safety. In the same way, the more you spend time in quiet reflection, the more you will recognize my guidance. Staying close to my voice requires intentional stillness. It means creating space away from constant distraction. It means allowing silence without immediately filling it with activity. In silence, clarity grows. You may ask, how do I know when it is you speaking? My beloved child, my voice aligns with peace. Even when I guide you toward challenge, there will be a steady assurance beneath it. My voice does not manipulate. It does not rush through fear. It gently leads. When confusion clouds your thoughts, pause. Do not feel pressure to decide instantly. Step back. Breathe. Invite me into the decision. Often, clarity unfolds gradually rather than suddenly. There will be moments when opportunities look attractive but carry subtle unrest within you. Pay attention to that. There will be moments when something feels intimidating yet carries deep peace beneath the nerves. Pay attention to that too. Discernment grows through practice. My beloved child, do not allow comparison to drown out my direction. What works for someone else may not be right for you. I am guiding your path specifically. Your journey has unique timing, unique lessons, unique assignments. Staying close to my voice also means guarding what enters your heart. Not every opinion deserves access. Not every criticism deserves your focus. Filter what you hear through truth. Does it build you? Does it align with love? Does it reflect wisdom? If not, release it. You do not need to chase every opportunity. You do not need to respond to every demand. Sometimes the most powerful decision is choosing stillness and waiting for clarity. I am not silent toward you. Even when you feel uncertain, I am near. Sometimes guidance comes through gentle impressions. Sometimes through wise counsel. Sometimes through circumstances aligning naturally. Stay attentive. The path ahead may not always be fully illuminated, but the next step will be clear enough when you seek me. My beloved child, make room for my voice daily. Even a few quiet moments can anchor your day. Let my words settle deeper than the world's noise. When you stay close to my voice, you walk with confidence, not because you control every outcome, but because you trust the one guiding your steps. Remain near. Remain attentive. I will lead you faithfully, one step at a time. My beloved child, there is a quiet tension you carry that often goes unnoticed by others. It is the tension of trying to hold everything together. You plan carefully. You think ahead. You rehearse conversations. You imagine outcomes. You try to manage details so that nothing slips through your fingers. Control feels safe to you. When life once surprised you in painful ways, you learned that being prepared might prevent future hurt. So you tightened your grip. You told yourself that if you could just anticipate every possibility, you would avoid disappointment. But constant control is exhausting. Imagine holding a handful of sand with your fist tightly closed. The harder you squeeze, the more sand slips through. Yet when you open your hand gently, the sand rests more peacefully in your palm. In the same way, the tighter you cling to every outcome, the more anxious you become. Letting go of control does not mean becoming careless. It does not mean abandoning responsibility. It means releasing the illusion that everything depends solely on you. You have been carrying outcomes that were never yours to carry. You have tried to manage how others respond. You have tried to ensure that nothing goes wrong. But my beloved child, you are not designed to orchestrate every detail of your life. There are variables beyond your sight. There are circumstances beyond your influence. There are timelines beyond your adjustment. And that is not a flaw in you. It is part of being human. When you surrender control to me, you are not losing power. You are shifting trust. Think of a child learning to swim. At first, they thrash in the water, afraid of sinking. Their movements are frantic because they believe survival depends entirely on their effort. But when they learn to float, they discover that the water can hold them. Relaxation becomes strength. You have been thrashing emotionally at times, trying to keep everything afloat. But I am inviting you to float in trust. Surrender begins in small ways. It may look like releasing the need to know every answer immediately. It may look like stepping forward even when the outcome is uncertain. It may look like allowing someone else to make their own choices without trying to control their reaction. You fear that if you loosen your grip, everything will fall apart. But consider this. How many times have you tried to control something, only to realize later that the outcome was shaped by forces beyond you anyway? You are not responsible for carrying the entire future on your shoulders. My beloved child, I am capable of guiding what you cannot manage. I see connections you do not see. I adjust paths in ways you cannot calculate. Trusting me with control does not remove your involvement. It removes the pressure. There is peace waiting on the other side of surrender. You may feel vulnerable at first. You may feel exposed without your usual strategies. But vulnerability in my care is not weakness. It is freedom from striving. Release the need to fix everything instantly. Release the need to predict every outcome. Release the fear that if you are not vigilant at all times, disaster will follow. You are allowed to rest. The world will continue turning even when you loosen your grip. And you may find that outcomes unfold more smoothly when you are not forcing them. My beloved child, let go of control and place your trust in me fully. I am not reckless with your life. I am intentional. I am wise. I am steady. Open your hand. Release the tension. And allow me to carry what was never meant to be yours alone. My beloved child, there were moments when you wished your struggles could simply disappear without leaving a trace. You did not want the pain. You did not want the confusion. You did not want the long nights or the difficult lessons. But what you have walked through is not meaningless. Your story will help others. Right now, you may only see your experiences as personal battles, private hardships you survived quietly. But the strength, wisdom, and compassion formed within you are not meant to stay hidden forever. Think of a lantern carried through a dark path. The one holding it benefits from the light first. They see where to step. They avoid stumbling. But the light also spills outward, guiding anyone walking behind them. In the same way, the clarity you have gained through your struggles will illuminate paths for others. You understand pain differently now. When someone speaks about anxiety, you do not dismiss it. You recognize it. When someone shares about heartbreak, you do not minimize it. You empathize. When someone feels lost, you do not judge. You remember your own uncertainty. A depth is a gift. There were lessons you learned in silence that will one day become words of encouragement. There were tears that shaped your compassion. There were disappointments that refined your discernment. Nothing you endure was wasted. You may not feel ready to share your story yet. It is all right. It has its pace. But even in small ways, through conversation, through kindness, through listening, you are already influencing others. Imagine someone walking behind you on a mountain trail. The path is narrow and uncertain. Because you have already navigated certain rocks and sharp turns, you can say gently, "Be careful there. Step slightly to the left." Your experience becomes their protection. Your scars will not disqualify you. They will authenticate you. The world does not need perfection. It needs honesty. It needs people who can say, "I struggled too, and I survived." It needs voices that reflect both vulnerability and hope. My beloved child, the pain you once wished away is becoming part of your strength. The chapter that nearly broke you is shaping your ability to guide others through similar storms. There will be someone who feels alone until they hear your words. There will be someone who feels misunderstood until they see your courage. There will be someone who almost gives up until they learn that you once felt the same and kept going. You are not required to carry everyone's burdens, but your presence, your empathy, your quiet wisdom will make a difference. Even your growth inspires others silently. When people notice how you respond with calm instead of panic, with grace instead of bitterness, they see what is possible. They may not say it aloud, but they are learning from you. This is how light spreads, not always through grand stages, but through consistent, compassionate living. Do not underestimate the power of your journey. What you survived holds purpose. What you learned holds value. What you overcame holds inspiration. My beloved child, you once asked why certain hardships were necessary. While not all suffering is explained easily, know this: I can redeem every part of your story. One day, you will look back and see how your path intersected with someone else's need. You will realize that your resilience became their encouragement. Your honesty became their permission to heal. Your story matters, not because it is flawless, but because it is real. Continue growing. Continue healing. Continue walking forward. The light within you will guide more people than you currently imagine. My beloved child, as you have listened to these words, there has been a quiet knowing inside you, a sense that this was not random, that something deeper was speaking directly to your heart. You may have tried to brush it off at first, telling yourself it was coincidence. But the more you listened, the more personal it felt. That is because this message was truly for you. Yes, others may hear it. Yes, others may find comfort in it. But I speak individually. I meet hearts one by one. I address wounds specifically. I call each of my children by name. There were sentences that felt as though they were describing your exact thoughts. Moments where it seemed like your private prayers were being answered aloud. That was not chance. That was connection. You have asked for confirmation. You have asked for reassurance. You have asked for clarity in seasons of confusion. And here you are, hearing my voice speak peace over the places that felt unsettled. Sometimes you doubt whether I truly notice the details of your life. You wonder if your concerns are too small in the grand picture of the world. But nothing about you is insignificant to me. Imagine a father in a crowded room filled with many voices. Even among the noise, he can recognize the voice of his child calling. He does not confuse it with another. He responds because that voice is precious to him. In the same way, I know your voice. I know your fears. I know your dreams. I know the questions you have not yet spoken aloud. This message came at this time because you were ready to receive it. You may not have felt ready. You may have felt uncertain or distracted. But something inside you was open. You have been walking through layers of growth. You have been shedding old patterns. You have been strengthening your foundation. And now, you needed reassurance that you are seen. You are seen. Do not dismiss what resonated with you as mere emotion. Pay attention to that inner stirring. That is where truth meets your spirit. There were parts of this journey that described your exact struggles, the waiting, the loneliness, the fear, the financial concern, the dream you almost buried. That specificity is not accidental. I speak personally because you matter personally. You may wonder what comes next after hearing this message. The answer is simple. Continue walking forward with renewed trust. Carry these truths with you. Visit them when doubt tries to return. This message is not meant to be a fleeting moment. It is meant to anchor you. When uncertainty rises again, remember what you have heard. When old fears attempt to resurface, recall the strength you have built. When you question whether you are alone, remember this conversation. My beloved child, you are not navigating life unnoticed. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are guided, protected, and deeply loved. Let this message settle into your heart as confirmation. Confirmation that I am near. Confirmation that your life has purpose. Confirmation that the path ahead is not empty. You were meant to hear this. You were meant to receive it at this exact time. And as you move forward, carry this assurance with quiet confidence. You are known fully, loved completely, and guided faithfully. This message was not random. It was for you. My beloved child, as we come to the end of this message, I want you to pause and feel the fullness of what has been spoken over you. You began this journey perhaps feeling uncertain, maybe even weary. And now you stand here having been reminded that you are seen, chosen, strengthened, guided, and loved. Nothing you have walked through was wasted. Not the waiting, not the storms, not the loneliness, not the closed doors. Every chapter shaped you. Every tear refined you. Every prayer was heard. I have been with you in the silence, in the confusion, in the rebuilding, and in the quiet victories you barely celebrated. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are becoming. I have been restoring what was lost, breaking chains you could not see, healing your past, and preparing you for what is ahead. The fear that once tried to define you is losing its voice. The strength you did not know you had is rising. The dream you almost buried is breathing again. Carry this truth with you. You are safe with me. When the world feels loud, stay close to my voice. When control tempts you, release it into my hands. When loneliness whispers, remember my presence surrounds you. When doubt rises, remember that I have spoken directly to your heart. And now, my beloved child, as this message settles within you, I invite you into something sacred. If these words have lifted you, imagine the countless hearts still searching in darkness for the same light. When you choose to support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link waiting in the description, and even offered through the QR code in this video, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing seeds into souls. I have said that those who sow generously will reap generously, and I breathe that promise over you now. This is your moment to turn gratitude into action, to let your obedience become oil that keeps this lamp burning across nations. Do not hold back when I am stirring your heart to move. What you release in faith, I will multiply beyond what you imagine. Step forward now and plant your seed boldly. My beloved child, I bless your mind with peace. I bless your heart with courage. I bless your path with clarity. May you walk forward knowing that you are guided and guarded. May you rest in the assurance that you are deeply loved. I seal these words over your life with favor, strength, and unwavering hope. Amen.